Viewer discretion advised. This video contains spoilers. Hello everyone and welcome to my freak show. I am Mary Girl Moody and this video is brought to you by my awesome patrons. Thank you so much to longtime patron Lady Butterfly 23. You are the best for having faith in my channel. If you guys would like to be a patron, the link is in the description. Click on it if you want. Now, writers of this episode are Ned Martell and Charlie Carver. I am excited to see Charlie back writing again for another episode. Now, this episode begins right where it left off, with Gino and the morgue freezer, and Mr. Whiteley eludes Patrick and escapes the hospital. Now, thankfully, the show does not keep us in suspense regarding Gino's fate, because Patrick uses his awesome cop skills to kind of retrace Mr. Whiteley's steps. He gets down to the morgue and realizes that Gino is in there. Whew, guys, he saves Gino. I loathed Patrick last episode when he cheated on our Gino, but he really saved his ass with me by saving Gino's life. So I'm gonna give Patrick another chance. However, like the saying goes, you lay with dogs, you get fleas. And poor Gino has fleas everywhere on him. Their apartment is basically infested with them, literally. I guess Patrick picked them up from the place with all that dirty flea-infested pussy everywhere. Gino goes to see Mrs. Pizzazz, and since she's an owner of a business where some of the men have gone missing, Gino basically asks her for help, and she says that she's basically a no-nonsense businesswoman who doesn't have time for anything that could ruin her business. However, she does give Gino a quote for his paper regarding how troubled she is as a local business owner that the police are not helping the gay community, nor are they actively looking for a killer. Next, we're going to move on to Patrick, and he is summoned to investigate a strange crime scene. Thank you dearly to Girl Gamer Gear for pointing out that this gentleman's name is Hans. I loved Hans, guys. He was in the last episode, and I definitely indicated to you guys how much I loved him, and thank you to Girl Gamer Gear for pointing out his name. Now, Hans has reappeared, but not in a good way. He is passed away in his bedroom on his bed, and it kind of appears to be like he died from some kind of an infection and some kind of physical injuries. His lover found him passed away and called 911, and the police came and found his lover crying on Hans's corpse, so they think that he did it. Now, the ME doesn't exactly know what happened to Hans without a full autopsy, and that's gonna wait 2 weeks. But Patrick tells him, look, his lover wasn't the killer, let him go. Now, if this video doesn't make you want to Ralph the way that I do when I see Sam's character, then click that like button and maybe even consider subscribing so YouTube will love me one day the way that you do. Now, over at the home of He Who Shall Not Be Named for fear of vomit, makes He Who Makes Me Drool tell him of the fire and basically confronts him about Stu, who was locked in the basement and thankfully didn't end up as Stu. Theo tells Sam that, look, he wants a good life with a good man because he thinks he's a good person, unlike Sam, who is quite dark. And Sam asks Theo if he really thinks that he's capable of killing someone, and Theo says yes. Sam calls him out and says, look, if you think I'm so dangerous, call the cops. But if he's going to, he'll lose everything from Sam. So Theo, of course, doesn't call the cops, and he hangs up the phone and he walks out of the apartment. Meanwhile, Gino is raging on Adam to do more instead of just telling him to calm down. The lights flicker and we get the first sign of the impending blackout. Someone follows Adam on his way to meet Theo. And when Adam sees Theo, he tells him he's left Sam. And he's very upset, and Adam invites Theo up to his place for a sip of water, but the only thing Theo is thirsty for is Adam's lovin'. After Adam walks Theo out of the building a little later, he checks his answering machine and finds a message of someone breathing and moaning as the lights go out in his apartment. And his neighbor calls to invite him to a blackout party because, that's exactly what you do when the city goes dark and there's 2 serial killers hunting the city. You leave the safety of your locked apartment or house for dark, potentially deadly places. Now, we don't get to know who was following Adam, nor do we know who left him that message, but I do hope that'll be answered in the next episode. Now, back at the police station, Captain Penn is mad about Gino, who seems to be getting and printing confidential police information. He wonders which officer could be the leak. And Patrick takes this opportunity to come out as a gay man. Now, obviously, this does seem to be true of what Gino says about Patrick, that he only tells the truth when he's about to get caught. So it did seem like Patrick felt like his captain was going to accuse him of being the one to do it. I didn't think he was, but I think Patrick was, because he was so defensive. And therefore, he just came out as a gay man to kind of deflect the situation. Then the lights go out at the police station. Barbara is going all Karen on Gino at his apartment. She pulls out a leather mask to show him, yet she doesn't say where she found it, nor does she confirm that it belongs to Patrick. She just simply brings the mask out of her purse, and I get the feeling she really wants to have Patrick blamed for the crime, or at least have Gino look at him in a different way, possibly with doubt. She continually talks about Patrick and his secrets, but I think she's mad that he didn't tell her he was gay until, much later when they were married and together for years. Gino at this point is begging her to leave when the power literally goes out. Now, before she exits his apartment, she implores Gino to ask Patrick to tell him the truth. When we return to the police station, Mr. Whiteley phones up Patrick and invites him to Central Park for tea, crumpets, and a polite little chat. I hope you guys know that I'm just kidding, right? Whiteley tells Patrick that he's going to be in the park, and he takes the bait by going to the park. Now, we'll come back to that in a minute. While Adam is on his way to the party, he's walking, and Sam drives up with his little driver and car and asks Adam to get into the car. I screamed hell no at the television screen, but Adam did not hear me, and he got into the car. Why? Oh my God. I mean, Adam, you think he's linked to Big Daddy. You know he abducts men. You know he's into some sick crap, but you get into the car with him? What? My red flag meter would just be screaming at me. In the car, Sam tells Adam that Theo's gonna grow bored of him and he's gonna return to Sam, and he always does. Now, this is the meat of the episode, so listen closely. At the park, Patrick and his partner arrive. Of course, they decide to split up. Patrick actually presumably finds the payphone that Whiteley called him from. And instead of finding Mr. Whiteley, Patrick finds Big Daddy and his huge medieval morning star. He goes to hit Patrick, but actually makes contact with the payphone instead. Patrick runs and calls for backup, but his calls go unanswered. Big Daddy catches up with Patrick, walks right at him, and Patrick freaking misses shooting Big Daddy. In fact, he actually drops his flashlight and he lowers his gun to reach for it. Oh God. Sometimes you can just hit or miss with this character, Patrick. I don't know. Sometimes I really like him and then sometimes I really loathe him, But when he gets back up, Big Daddy is gone, but he finds his partner. And together they search the park for Big Daddy, but I guess they didn't find him because the next time we see Patrick, Gino is confronting him about his lies in their apartment. And it happens right then and there. Patrick tells Gino about all of the cheating, and there was more than what we thought. He talked about his love of leather, all of it. He swears that he can stop, but Gino doesn't believe it and has like some kind of medical attack. So Patrick calls an ambulance. Now at the hospital, the doctor says they don't exactly know what's wrong with Gino, but she's running some tests. She does know for a fact though that he has cat scratch fever. Now Gino turns away from Patrick as he lays in the hospital bed. Meanwhile, Mr. Whiteley is busy hacking away at a body in Central Park in the dark when two men stumble upon him. And even though they're really close in earshot, they whisper and think that this man can't hear him. Or that they don't know, or that Mr. Whiteley doesn't know that they are following him. Because they do decide to follow him, so that way they can call the police and, give him the guy's address. But they don't do that. They go inside the apartment. One of them wants the apartment number. That is a huge mistake because when they follow Mr. Whiteley into his building, they get stuck with him in the elevator when the power goes out. So now they know that he's a killer with carrying a human head in his little handbag, his little clutch purse. And Whiteley knows that they know he's a killer with a human head in his bag. So the episode ends with the fate of the two poor unfortunate souls in the elevator hanging. Oh, the meat. So delicious, delectable meat in this episode. Guys, I give this episode an 8 for its long, hard work and character development, meaty plot, and a beautiful climax that left us begging for another episode. I am really excited for tomorrow when we get 2 brand new episodes of this season, and I do promise you it's definitely not going to take long to get those reviews. So what did you think of episode 4 of AHS NYC? Let me know your rating and opinion in the comments. Beyond the Horror is my AHS live after show where I discuss the episode with my viewers. Come join me for the show. Links are in the description. I took the time and researched the Blackout of NYC, the AIDS epidemic, and all that so you don't have to, and placed all that information in a handy little video. So catch up with my history of NYC with me while the show airs. AHS Weekly Wednesday live streams are every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need to binge AHS videos, check out my theory videos and parodies. Playlist is at the end of this video, sometimes along with a little funny. For now, don't misbehave, thank you for watching, and beware of our queen, Sexy Scathach.
Beware of Sexy Scathach.